welcome to She Rides, a podcast where women's cycling takes the lead. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Christoph, and today we're diving into the latest race results and hot topics in women's cycling.
And we have a guest joining us to share her story. Let's get started. Ready? Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 27 of She Rides. Normally, of course, if you saw who's our guest today, you are probably wondering what the hints meant at the end of last episode. Normally we had someone from the winners team actually here with us today, but she didn't feel great. But actually, last minute we could find another amazing guest for today. Hi, José.
Hi.
Before we start, can you tell us who are you?
Yeah, my name is José Been. I'm 46 from the Netherlands, where I live with my husband and 2 dogs. I work as a cycling commentator for, it has all sorts of names. In the UK, it's now TNT Sports. We know it as Eurosport, Discovery, Warner Brothers. It has many different names, and I also am the head of communications at Q36.5. And, very important, volunteer at the Jeugdtour Assen, the Jeugdtour Assen, the best youth racing event in the world for 8 to 18-year-olds.
Nice. So, how did you find your way actually to cycling and cycling commentary?
Well, that all started with my dad, who was a rider himself in the amateur categories. He was a sports director. So as kids, me and my sister, we were always dragged to these summer criteriums at night, and we got the promise that after the race we would get ice cream. But before we ended up at the ice cream van, my mum and dad would have met at least 10 people they knew and they had to catch up with. So cycling was always part of my upbringing. It was on television. We went to Tour de France stages when we were camping in France, and but it was never my sport. I did swimming, which I always say is a gravity-free sport. It's not a lot of people who break something in the pool. But in 2009, I was home with breast cancer, and I started tweeting about cycling because, I started watching it more and, wanted to share that with other people. And I knew nobody around me who actually liked cycling. So I quickly build a community on Twitter back when it was still fun, and from that moment on, that gained attention from Danny Nelis, who was the director of Eurosport Netherlands back in the day, and he wanted to hire me for something else. And then we were on the phone, and he said, "Well, can you do a sound check for the news, just the general news bulletins?" And I remember him saying something like, "Well, I know you love your cycling, but a female cycling commentator, nobody's going to believe that. I only want former riders." And then he left the company, and I got his job, and that's how it started. And it's quite often it's about having luck in life, getting somewhere, and I wish that a lot of people had the opportunities that I had. And then it's about working hard, but when it's your passion, it's not really hard work. It's something I do 24/7, almost 24/7. Also started riding a bike myself because I thought, well, I need to try. I actually got Marijn de Vries race bike for one of my first jobs in women's cycling. She was part of a team called AA Drink, and as payment, I would get her race bike, which was, of course, far too racy for my lower back. So after that, I did a bike fit and ended up with a Trek de Mane, and that's what I still ride. And now I ride about like 8,000 kilometers a year, and it's the best thing ever. So I ride bikes, I talk about bikes, I write about bikes. It's all bikes.
Yeah, nice story. And you for the moment you're commentating mainly on men's races, and of course you're head of communications at a men's team. Yep. So why did we invite you on our podcast today?
I had this discussion last week with Van Breggen's dad. I went to the Amstel Gold Race on my day off. we were at Paris-Roubaix, of course, with the team, and I watched it on television the day before, and I was so inspired by that ride that I said, okay, next week at Amstel Gold Race, I have a day off. I'm going to drive to 2 hours down south and just be roadside, just like I was when I was a fan. And just after the Bemelenberg, I ended up on a parking spot, parked next to Anna van der Breggen's mum and dad. And I really had to use the toilet. And they said, yeah, you can do it. You can use the toilet in our camper van. And I had this discussion with him. And he said, well, we still remember how when you commentated bike races on Eurosport Netherlands, because I commentated in Dutch until 2019 and now since 2021 in English. We remember how you would always share the results from the women's races, like back when we didn't have any images from Flèche Wallonne or Liège or the Giro d'Italia or whatever was going on, Touring and Rundfahrt. I would always share if we had results from the women's race. Instead, like that generation, like Anna's generation, had always really appreciated that, he said. And for Eurosport Netherlands, I did a lot of commentary also for the women, but now in English commentary, we have other people doing that. So sometimes I have a late call up like Scheldeprijs, and I do my best, but I don't do all that much anymore. But I still follow it because, I love cycling, but a women on a bike or a female bike rider is always a little bit more inspiring to me than a man, because I am a woman. I can relate to that. They are about 3 times faster than I am, but they are also women. And that is their rides and their victories and their battles are just a little bit more inspirational than most of what I see in the men's racing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice to get your story and just to get to know you a little bit better. And I think now we can move on to the latest news.
Yeah, had a nice week of racing, Sarah, in the Ardennes.
Yeah.
The real Ardennes this time, with of course the Flèche Wallonne on a Wednesday, and Liège-Bastogne-Liège on a Sunday. But I think we should start with Flèche, a very typical race, classic finish on the Mur de Huy. Classic commentary afterwards. Should the finish still be on the Mur de Huy, like every year? But anyway, that's a whole other discussion. But a beautiful winner, finally.
Yeah.
With Puck. Like, finally, this is so deserved.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That
didn't really expect it, at least not now, that she would beat Vollering there, and also not just beat her, like, very impressive. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and it had the classical race development, of course, some breakaway, some fighting in the front, but in the end, it all ends up at the feet of the Mur de Huy for the final.
The first break was with Julie van der Velde.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
always
we have to mention Julie. Yeah, true. But let's say it had the typical build-up of every Flèche Wallonne. And the typical finish of every Flèche Wallonne so far. That with a nice sprint all out, 5-6 minutes, the strongest one.
Yeah.
Like predicted. But you could see on Puck's face that was a face of a winner. When she went and overtook Demi Vollering, you could see at her face like, oh, this is hers. She really wanted it. Mm. That's what I could read from her face, actually. It was like, I want this, nobody else.
I think everybody online was like really, really happy when she won, and a lot of people probably cheering her name at the television screen, including myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say,
good advice for Remco Evenepoel: chug your beer at the finish of Amstel.
Yeah. That's right. But no, cool winner, and like, I don't know. We probably have to mention, or I just gotta mention it, the commentary on Flèche was again shocking on Sporza. Let's be honest, all the other races I was somewhere along the road, or I couldn't hear the commentary, or I was just watching in another language. But I was like, this Wednesday, okay, I gotta see again how it is like on Sporza. Oh my god, this was actually, we started with I don't know, something like, women are always going to the toilet together, they pee together, and all that very weird bullshit. And then, of
And we
course,
care why.
I don't know, there was something about they thought Pieterse was peeing, but they weren't sure, and then they started this whole weird. Anyways, weird.
It's one of the most asked questions, by the way. How do women pee in the pro peloton? But it's a weird way to start the broadcast. Yes.
But it wasn't even about that. Then it went over like to the female commentator, like, do you go together with your friends to the toilet? And I was like, whoa, what am I watching? And I was also like, there's only so little coverage. Are we really going to talk about this right now? So, yeah, that's how it started. Then we, of course, went to Flanders' most hot topic. If you talk about women's cycling, women's racing is boring, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. And then it was like the female commentator kind of tried to give it some context, but yeah, it didn't really work out. And then we had the male commentators saying like, yeah, but the women are always hurt and they are frustrated and they are annoying when we ask them questions about it. And then there was this bullshit like, you have to handle it if you're, oh my god. It was dramatic.
Oh.
So yeah.
So José, probably you have proof that probably Tom Pidcock is not always so amused after the finish of a race either.
Most definitely not. No,
So-
these are winner types, you know. And if it doesn't play out the way that, and it doesn't matter if they're male or women, male or female.
Yeah.
It's just First of all, about the coverage, it's sad that for these races that are covered by RTBF, they provide what we call the host or the world feed. So they are in charge of what people around the world can see, whether that is on Eurosport, TNT, or Sporza. So Sporza is not the producer of this race. RTBF Belgium network decides how long the coverage is going to be. That's how we ended up in Liège with a men's finish at like 4:25, and we still had to wait another 30 minutes before the women's race would start. That's not the fault of the broadcasters, only the fault or the decision of the host broadcaster, just like Amstel Gold Race is always so incredibly short. But yes, it's if you do coverage of 6-hour stages like I sometimes do, yes, you do have topics that you. Today we talked about avocados and how you buy them in the shop and they put like ready to eat on them and they're still hard as a rock. But if you got 30 kilometers of bike race coverage, yeah, it's maybe get to the racing.
Yeah, might be interesting.
Despite all the prep that you did or maybe did not do in terms of preparation of historical sites and sea lions and what have you. When there's 30 kilometers left, it's kind of get to the racing there.
Mm-hmm.
Leave the geography facts for a longer
Most
broadcast.
Yes. There was two remarkable things in the top 10 were two young Dutch women, Mijntje Geurts and Nienke Vinke, 21 and 20, I think they are. So there is hope for the future of Dutch cycling. Mm-hmm. Of course, we have Puk Pieterse, but a lot of the top riders that we have in Dutch cycling are getting older. Now a new generation finally gets their place, but the Dutch National Federation held on to the generation of Ellen van Dijk, Chantal Blaak, Annemiek van Vleuten, Marianne Vos, all these riders for quite a long time, sending them to world championships and never giving these younger girls the chance to do worlds or European. So I'm happy to see that younger women are now breaking through, and Nienke Vink, of course, coming through the Next G development squad that I was also involved with, and it's great to see her flourish and do so well.
Yeah,
that's good. Let's throw Fem van Empel in the mix too.
Oh, yeah,
I hope she can come back mentally strong as before, and then she's capable of big things. I think not only in cyclocross but also on the road.
Yeah.
But hey, another question, Sarah and José. What I maybe saw is like, is Demi Vollering okay with coming in second or third this season? Because she seems always so happy and grateful for the winner. And when Puk Pieterse overtook, it was like, okay, I lost this. I mean, probably she was not thinking that, but it gave me that impression. It was like, okay, well, I didn't win.
I
So,
I think she is the kind of person. She is very kind, very normal, very not killer in the way that she handles. When she's outside the race, of course, somebody like Kirsten Wild is extremely friendly outside of the race, but a killer on the bike, especially on the track. But I think Demi Vollering is the kind of person it's like, okay, if somebody was stronger, I will accept that. Elisa Longoborghini, same kind of person. If somebody was stronger and I was not strong enough that day, I think the same. This is the kind of thing that she said after Liège as well. If somebody is stronger, then somebody is stronger. It's the facts, and somebody was stronger.
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's good that she's so kind, and then she's okay with somebody that's stronger, that's winning. I sometimes just think like, come on, Demi, show some more grit. Do you have anything in the tank? Like, show me your killer face during the race. Like, come on, do it, because she's capable of it. I'm pretty sure that okay, if she comes in second after Puck, I mean, we all saw Puck's face. That was hers anyway. She was not taking a second place at Flash anyway. That's for sure. But show some grit. Come on, Demi.
Yeah.
Well, we saw that on the last stage last year in the Tour de France that there was a lot of grit trying to come back. You know, you don't have the palmares like she has when you don't have the determination. But I think it's also reality that in most of the races this year so far, somebody else was better, apart of course from Strade, which everybody seems to have forgotten already. Like, she lost in Amstel, and she lost in Flèche, and she lost in Liège, and this season is rubbish. And I'm always amazed at how much criticism she gets online in whether she smiles or whether she cries or whether she's happy or whether she is not happy or whether she's arrogant or whether she's laid back. Or now she was talking about menstruation, which is fantastic, because there was a time in women
Finally.
there was a time in women's cycling that none of these riders even had their periods because they were so underweight. And then I see on the Dutch website of Wielerflits, which often have like terrible comments, but I don't know why I read them. And there was like, she's always looking for an excuse. And all these women in the peloton have periods. And why is it that it hurt? Why does it bother her? It's like, you know, first of all, you're a guy. You don't have to say anything about how terrible or not terrible her period is. That differs per woman, and it differs per month, as Saar and I can probably testify. You know, some months it's a doozy, and some other months it's terrible. And some women do really well during their period. There's a famous story that Leontine van Moorsel got her hour record on the track on her period, and that she was super strong because she could push through those pain barriers. And other women have trouble with it. So first of all, if you're a man, you're not saying anything about it, okay? And second of all, why are people always so nasty about her? And then somebody said to me, well, she doesn't have that factor that people love her like they love Puck. And I was like, why is that? Why? She's such a lovely person. She's so kind to everybody that knows her, who knows her. Why are people always so nasty about her?
Yeah.
Have you got any idea?
No.
No, I don't.
It's just why I always be so. Some people online are really just so annoying, and it's sad for real fans. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
But good thing she spoke up about it, because if you're saying like other have it too, why don't we hear them about it? Yeah, it's like it's good that she talks about it, because maybe in the future other will talk about it too. So yeah, that's
it shouldn't be a taboo anymore.
No.
It's so important. Even science says it. Like, you have to adapt your training schedule to the menstruation cycle for women cycling. It's important because they can react very differently with it. I have 4 young girls that I'm coaching, and 2 of them have never a problem with it. I know one that even have to skip training because she can't, and that's perfectly fine. I'm like just open up about it. Okay, I'm a man. I'm, like you said, Jose, I have no idea how it feels. I just have to deal with my 3 daughters and my wife's aftermath every time, like the results, the consequences of it. but yeah, it shouldn't be such a secret. It's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
So
I know that a lot of women's football teams, or soccer, for those of you listening to this in the United States, have coaches, because apparently, if you do a lot of gym work on the days of the ovulation or the day of the menstruation, I don't know exactly which one it was, your tendons and your joints are more sensitive. So don't do a lot of hard work on certain days of your cycle. And it helps women get better. But even like she's speaking out about it, and people say, yeah, it's an excuse. If you read the rest of her statement, she doesn't say it was an excuse for her second place in Liège. She says somebody was better. And she doesn't say, like, I only lost because this was the time of the month. No, her entire statement was very gracious in saying somebody else was better. It's like, what's wrong with that? But every time, whether she's crying after the finish, why she's emotional or not emotional, why is it such a problem that Demi Vollering is crying on camera? Are we so upset by women showing their emotions?
Yeah.
Because if a man does it, if a man does it after winning a stage and they're so emotional about it, or they're dedicating it to their grandfather or a lost friend or whatever, we all applaud. It's like, oh, it's fantastic showing the feelings. And when Demi Vollering cries on camera, it's like, oh, it's her again, the drama queen. It's like, why is that? Why is she so? What is she doing to most of these male people online that make them so angry? I want to understand, but I don't think I can.
Yeah, me neither.
yeah, I'm not gonna help here, Jose. I don't understand
No, this
that
is
either.
this is a safe space. It's a safe space here.
yeah. So yeah. And then on top of that, why can Puck Pieterse cry?
Yeah.
And Demi Vollering not?
Yeah.
I mean, why is that not allowed? And then can Puck just cry all day long? For example, and we think like, oh, look at that, she's so emotional. Finally, the big race she won, and then of course she's crying.
Lotte is never emotional on camera, even when she won No Koers after she lost her brother. And then people say, oh, why is she not emotional? She just lost her brother. It's like,
Yeah.
it's never okay, is it? They're not emotional. They're too emotional. It's like, make up your mind. What should we do after the finish?
It's so easy.
And maybe we can please you all.
Yeah, it's so easy to
just let's go with whatever you want to do. And just accept it, what they do. I mean, every athlete is going to react differently. You're going to have women and men who are after a hard race, very emotional. They can start crying by just seeing their baby or whatever. They just can start crying out of nothing after a big race. Others are going to lock themselves up like they're going to be closed. That's all okay. That's just how they deal with it. They're adults. They went through the youth ranks. They went through the youth stages of cycling and of becoming a professional athlete. So they know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
That's their comfort zone they're seeking.
As well.
Yeah. It works for them because they do it already since they're younger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It can be daunting, of course, getting a camera in your face, but like the women that we are discussing now, they have had cameras shoved in their face quite a few times. And yeah, the great thing I find about Demi Vollering is that despite everything and all the criticism that I read about her, she's still Demi. She's not holding back.
Yeah.
She's saying it as it is, and she's not holding back the words because she doesn't want to upset people. It's yeah. Mm-hmm. She's a remarkable person. I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's allowed to flip a finger on the camera. Like she's allowed to it, but she's not going to do it probably.
It's probably not accepted either. Then she's too arrogant or indecent.
Why do you hate us? That's then the quote. Why do you hate us?
Oh well.
Maybe on to Liège now.
Yeah, you had a nice day out, sir.
Yeah, very unexpected. But I went the day before also to the team presentation, which was also nice. Saw, of course, Margot, catched up a bit, and also went to do some spray paint actually for our guests and for Lotte too. How could I not? So I spent more than 4 hours in the car that day. So yeah, I had enough car that day. But next day I woke up around 7:40 6:40 a.m. I already didn't have much sleep because when we arrived in the apartment, an alarm went off, and we thought like, "Ooh, did we do something wrong?" But apparently, our upstairs neighbor had burned something while cooking, and the fire alarm went off, but there was no actual fire. So we went to her and we were like, "Can you just put it off? Like, just..." "Yeah, no, I can't. Otherwise, the owner is gonna be angry." So then it was already like 14 minutes straight. The fire alarm. Then the downstairs neighbors came. "Yeah, it's always the same here. We have no Wi-Fi, no hot water, and so forth." Eventually, the owner said, "Yeah, just call the fire department." But we were like, "Hey, there's no fire here." So yeah, the downstairs neighbors called the fire department. At that point, the fire alarm was going off for about 45 minutes. Great. And
Good
then
morning.
the fire department came there with 8 guys. It was like oh, please don't see me. So yeah, then they just put it off. And then, of course, we had the luck. There was also a big party going on just in the street. So that was still about 4 a.m. And then, yeah, at 7:40 a.m. I saw a message coming in from someone from AG Insurance, the sponsor, not the team, asking me if I wanted to help them because someone got ill and they needed someone else for the publicity caravan before the men's race. And I was like, "Yeah, sure. When do I have to be there?" "Oh, in 40 minutes we're leaving." And I was like, "Whoa, I'm in my pajamas. I haven't eaten anything." So yeah, it was a rush, but I got there 2 minutes before they left, and then I just spent a long time again in the car, making some little kids happy, which was quite a nice experience. So yeah, and then I got a place in the VIP area for just in time for the men's arrival, and then for the women's race. So yeah, great day.
Nice day out. Nice winner of the race
Yeah.
too. Let's go to the race action. Like, oh, this is so deserved after her spring season for Kim LeCour.
Was in the right
Like
camp. Everyone was so happy from the sponsors.
Yeah. Ah, yeah. You were in the right car. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, great race. Just we of course had a break in the early part, and then it was like I think UAE paced like pre-finale. Then we also had FDG. We had someone from UAE ski bundling, I think, in the front for a while.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
And of course, then the action really began, or we finally got live stream. Just
Just when the redoute started, yes. just
Yeah.
in time.
Yeah,
We're so blessed.
exactly.
We're so blessed.
Yeah,
So
just in time to see Longoborghini
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah, that was sad.
I was very surprised, but yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. I think the light went out, and this was the one too much after her, because she had already great spring season that started already in UAE. That yeah, maybe the light went out.
I think you must not underestimate what it does to the body,
Yeah.
flesh on in those circumstances. And not everybody does really well when it's like 5 degrees and raining, or it feels like 5 degrees and raining. And yeah, some riders did have some setbacks from that. But yeah, I always love seeing Elisa. She's such a grateful, kind person. Last year, I wanted to do an article with her and her husband. So I drove to the CMAC Ladies Tour because I wanted to ask her personally. And she was so happy that I wanted to give attention to her husband, who is Jacopo Mosca. And he's the kind of rider who always rides at the front. You know, he's the ultimate domestique. Well, she is the team leader, so they are so different in who they are. But she was so happy. Yes, I really want you to do an interview with Jacopo because he never gets any attention, and all the attention always goes to me. And yeah, and she sent pictures for the article of their wedding day, and yeah, she's always very kind, and it was sad that she couldn't make it happen in Liège, but just like Sarah said, she had a good spring season, and we'll see some more. The best moment, of course, was last year when she finally won the Giro.
Yeah,
Everything
sure.
now is
and
a
she's
bonus.
allowed to park. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's pretty much bonus she had in her whole career already. And everybody is allowed to park on La Redoute. We can relate. I don't know, Jose, if you ever drove up to it with a bike.
No, when
but
I'm 15 kilos,
I can understand.
15 kilos less, I will try, but not now. No, it's not gonna happen.
I can understand you park there, so it's okay, Elisa. It's okay.
Especially
Don't worry too much about it.
Especially at the pace that they are riding, and that's why everybody should.
Yeah.
That's why everybody should visit at least one women's pro race, so you really get an idea of how fast these women and also men are. You can't believe how fast they race cobbles, for example, in Paris-Roubaix, or how fast they race on Oude Kwaremond if you're not there. So just everybody, for next year's spring season, get yourself a ticket to Belgium or the north of France and watch bike racing in real life.
Yeah, I drove up Oude Kwaremond today, actually, with my bike.
Oh.
Well, riding is maybe a big word, and I was thinking, like, Jesus, how on earth can they pace this? Like, I mean, I'm just like Yves Lampaert said, I'm skarten, like he says, up on Oude Kwaremond, and then to see the men and the women just race up there, you cannot imagine that.
No.
That you have to drive those hills yourself just to see how incredibly fast and strong they are.
I think that idiot on Redoute thought that he could follow the women, but in the end, he did not, and his ego was smashed.
Yeah,
it's left at the beginning of the climb. It's still there, lost and found. The ego of the guy.
The other day, my husband said, "Oh yeah, I saw a group of men riding while he was walking the dogs, and there was one woman in that group, and she was wearing full track gear." And I said, "Oh, Ellen, was she at the front of the group?" Yeah, she was at the front of the group. It's like, Ellen, like sometimes you do like 50k an hour on the descent, and then I always think, well, you don't have to think. You must not think too much when you're descending a mountain. Only like, how do I stay on the bike? But then I think this is what Ellen van Dijk does, just on the flat, on her own, on a bike, 50k an hour. It's like, this is how fast she goes, and then I'm just in awe again.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, just try to ride 45 an hour for 1k.
No,
it's like, Jesus,
on a flat road.
Stop it.
On the downhill, okay. On the flat, nah, it's not gonna happen. But yeah, the winner, really, really cool. I remember that Natasha Knaver sent me a message that she was in contact with Kim Lecour, a mountain biker who lived in South Africa, and that that she was interested in joining her. And last year, Sefas, her husband, said, "Okay, I got one tip for you. Kimberly Lecour is going to be top 10 in Paris-Roubaix." So I convinced my editor, and I was writing for Escape Collective back then. I convinced my editor, like, we need to do a feature on Kim Lecour because she's going to do top 10 in Paris-Roubaix. And Joe didn't believe me, and she did do top 10 in Paris-Roubaix. She was 10th, so that was my moment of victory there. But she came to that team of Natasha and Sefas, now AG Insurance, and straight away they both knew that she was something special. And her rise has been so fast this year, and I was amazed that, like, when we had that group on La Rochefoucauld, all of a sudden she was there. Where did she come from? Like, everybody was dropping, and all of a sudden, oh, hey, here I am. And I saw that group of 4 people, and I said, okay, I posted, like, on La Rochefoucauld, I posted a message on Blue Sky, say, okay, get the Mauritian national anthem ready, we got ourselves a winner. And because, in that group of 4, she was always going to win. Yeah. It's like, when anybody else would, if you think that anybody else would have won out of those 4 riders, you did not follow women's cycling last year or even this spring season. Just like you said, Christophe, this was a long time coming. And it was great. There was a lot of emotion for her and a lot of emotion for her country, because apparently she got a lot of flack for racing a jersey with her country's flag on it, which happens to be a rainbow-colored flag. That is the flag of the country. and she got a lot of
No,
criticism.
don't explain it again,
It's
Jose,
like,
because
why?
Sporza is like every episode they're
Why?
explaining it like, oh, hey, the story behind this.
No,
No,
but
we
why
know
are
it
they?
already.
Why was
It's,
there? And she was really. It had hurt her. She said in the interview that people were
oh, really?
ridiculing her flag, and that she was
Oh.
It's so dumb. Like, why?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just dumb anyway, but I didn't know it really hurt her.
Oh, she's very proud of her
that
country.
Makes...
She's also very much involved with getting younger people on Mauritius on bikes, inspiring the younger generation, making sure there's funding for these people off the island of Mauritius to go to like African Continental Champions or even the World Championships later on. And I think she traveled back for the Mauritian Championships, especially because she really wanted that jersey last year. And she really did it proud. And she's a real winner, just like Puk Pieterse. You could see it, and now the world finally knows. They should have known last year in the Giro, but now the world finally knows. And we can just shelve that discussion about her jersey and just hope that she wins it again this year. But
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Also,
I love the jersey. It's...
Also great to see Stan's high train finally paid off, right? He thought Milano Sanremo, but eventually she did win the big classic he predicted. So just a really cool winner.
I love the
Kim LeCour, what an all-rounder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hats off.
Yeah.
What an all-rounder.
Yeah, she said she deliberately skipped Paris-Roubaix this year because she wanted to do well in the Ardennes, and she lived up to her promise. I really loved the little interview that they had on Sporza with Lotte de Schepper, the young Belgian rider, who's like absolutely adorable. And she told a little bit of an anecdote of the dinner table the night before that Kim LeCour had, according to herself, the best tiramisu ever. And she was considering taking an extra serving, and she did. And now Lotte de Schepper said she's going to take tiramisu before every important race.
Wow, not a bad thing.
No, it could have been like diced carrots or something, which is like very boring, or more rice and pasta. But it was a good thing. Yeah.
Like 2 kilos of lentils. Ah, shit, there I won the race. Damn it.
Yeah.
Now I'm screwed.
No, you don't do lentils before a climbing race. No high fiber stuff. Only low fiber stuff. But it's also great for Africa. Of course, this year we have the World Championships in Rwanda. And a little while ago, I spoke to a rider from Kenya who does a lot of gravel. And she said to me, it's like, this World Championships is doing nothing for African cycling. You know, the big riders from all over the world flying to Rwanda, and they leave after the race on Sunday, and then African cycling has gained nothing. But a win like we saw yesterday from Kim LeCour for Africa, an African country, and she's proudly African, is inspiring more and more people. And of course, Ashley Molman, her teammate, does fantastic work as well, you know, with the Swift Academy and Kalitsa Cycles and all the things that she tries in the townships of South Africa with these inspirational women riding on Zwift. So this was great, and I hope we get to build from that and see more African women. Mm-hmm. We also had an early attack by Fariba Hashimi. Sadly, that didn't go on. But I hope that her time on the big stage, she won a stage in Ardèche, of course, last year, but her time on the big stage will come as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not only African women, Jose. We just need these kind of personalities, like on and off the bike. They're an inspiration for a young generation.
Yeah, she's
like I tell my young girls, like go follow Natasha Knaven, go follow Ashley Molman, go follow Kim LeCour. Mm-hmm. Just see what they post, just read what they do.
Yeah.
They say the right stuff.
And it shows. It shows again that Natasha, who is a very dear friend of mine, she absolutely knows her stuff. Somebody like Lotte de Schepper, but also Nienke Vinke. A lot of these riders that we now kind of see breakthrough, come through the Next G program, the Age Insurance Development Squad last year. Riders like Julia Kopecky, who sadly is still injured, but also Mirre Knaven. And she really has an eye for it. She leads the team with compassion and humanity, and looks beyond the rider. Not only it's like this is a winning machine, but just like Remco Evenepoel said, we are not robots, we are human beings. And that's what she does really well. She now has one of the most promising young riders from Belgium on the team, Auke de Buizer. And I hope that that we'll see more from Auke soon. Maybe not in Rwanda because Belgian Federation is not sending any juniors, but it's also not a course for Auke. But yeah, it's a fantastic project, a fantastic woman. She's done so much, and if you don't follow her yet on LinkedIn, where she shares a lot about her vision of growing the sports, and I really agree with her that we need more foundation and less top of the pyramid to make this sport go well into the future. But that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah,
just follow Natasha on LinkedIn or on Facebook, Instagram. She's got a lot of inspiration on how we should build women's cycling.
And I'm pretty sure you follow bigger idiots than Natasha Knaven, so just give her a follow.
Yeah.
Just try it out.
Yeah.
Just give it a try.
She knows her stuff.
Yeah.
But what I found actually surprising was, so we clearly saw that both Pieters and Vollering didn't really want to work with Kopecky being there too. But once she was gone and Kim de Koer was there was no hesitation. And I was like, what's the difference? She's gonna beat you at the finish, right? So, that was maybe...
Yeah, they judged it wrongly, I guess. They were like, oh, it's Kim de Koer, it's okay. We will shake her off.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Probably that, and when you see Lotte Kopecky, like, we're screwed.
Yeah.
For sure. And then they were like, oh, no, it's not the rainbow jersey right now, it's the other one. No.
Not the right rainbow jersey, this one's safe. No, it was not.
Yeah, this one is safe. No, it was not.
Wrong move. But this kind of underdog thing, you can only have it once. Whether you're Matthias Skelmos or whether you are Kim de Koer, you can only play that underdog card. And in both cases, they were not underdogs. But maybe the other riders didn't expect this sprint. But she played it perfectly well, and it was phenomenal. It was the best win of the weekend, best win of the week. Although, both were great.
Yeah, let's put it that way. yeah, exactly.
But then, I already saw the headlines in some of the Belgian media that Lotte Kopecky, what did they say? She cracked?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is the same as Demi Vollering winning Strade Bianche. Have we already forgotten that Lotte Kopecky won the Ronde van Vlaanderen? Was it that long ago? Do you have such a short memory? The girl, she can't win all races. There's more women in the peloton than Lotte Kopecky. And she didn't win, and now, okay, her career is over. We can just,
Oh, definitely.
She's never going to do anything good again now. It's like,
start preparing 2026 already, because this was not it.
Not going,
Come back stronger, please.
Yeah. It was
learn to ride your bike.
It was just terrible. It was so terrible. The season of Lotte Kopecky or the Ardennes Classics. It's like, how can she even show her face anymore after such a terrible performance? Of course, Lotte Kopecky herself doesn't give a shit about these kind of things, but it's just. But
I hope so, José, because you never know. She looks like cold and like I don't care.
Nah,
but I don't know. In private, you never know.
Like if you really saw her like in the interview after LBL, you could really see the disappointment in her eyes, and I saw her later at the buses like. Yeah, it's not always with the tears but I think like after Amstel Gold Race too, I really think after some races you could really see Lotte was frustrated partly by media, by how they reacted on women's cycling and on you didn't win again, like she won the Tour of Flanders.
The most difficult thing, of course, is if you have as a country one absolute top rider, and we have that same issue in the Netherlands with the men's classics. We only have one rider, and that's Mathieu van der Poel. On the women's side of things, we have a lot of different riders, so they also kind of take the weight of all the expectations. They share it. But in Belgium and in Flanders, all the expectations are on Lotte Kopecky. Everybody knows her. I think last year was the first year ever that a female cyclist won cyclist of the year or something like that, or like sports person of the year. That's how big she is. You know, she is one of the best riders in the world, but even she can't win everything.
Yeah.
And then when she comes in fifth, she failed. No, come on. Like, don't be stupid. And that's it. You know, if you get more riders in Flanders, and hopefully more of these younger women will take a step up, because it is necessary also to take the pressure of Lotte Kopecky a little bit. Hopefully they will talk about other younger women a bit more and know more than one rider in Belgium. And yeah, it's good that she is such an inspiration to a lot of young people, a lot of young riders. But it also comes with a lot of pressure, and I hope she has a good support network to help her with that.
Yeah, the last few weeks it's been absolutely horrible here in Belgium. I just don't think people realize what are you saying? Like she was helping her teammates, or she won the Tour of Flanders, or she was up there. It's not like she disappeared or something. She was in every race. She was racing the final, and still you find the need in every talk show, in every article to say, yeah, she isn't great this year. Yeah, she isn't what I expected. And I'm like, what do you expect? Do you really expect her to start in Sanremo and win everything till LBL? Like, that's just not...
Yes, because she's a robot, Sarah. She doesn't show emotion, so she's a robot. She should win every race. For sure she should. Come on.
Hate it so.
I think fifth place among all these climbers is a pretty good result. But yeah.
And then, of course,
same after Amstel. It's like, oh, where was Lotte Kopecky? And oh, was she not good enough?
It would have been nice
Stop
to actually
crying about it.
It would have been nice if we actually saw that move on TV where it happened. But I love the comment that she gave after. We gave you a show, but you couldn't see it. But
I saw.
And on top of that, I thought Amstel was a great race. Yeah. Of course, it was not with Lotte Kopecky, not with Lorena Wiebes, not with Longo Borghini, not with the big stuff.
Almost with Ellen van Dijk. Hey.
Almost with Ellen van Dijk, yes. But it was a nice race. Can we just focus on that? No. Okay, Lotte Kopecky was not playing the head role of the day, but it was a nice race, finally, because you were complaining the whole spring that women's cycling was boring. Now finally something happens. It's like, yeah, but Lotte Kopecky was not there. Like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I did see a few boring races this year, both in the men's and the women's peloton. But it seems like it's a lot of a bigger deal when it's a boring race in the women's peloton. Yeah. And a journalist of a Newsblad asked me that last week. It's like, can we say that women's cycling is boring? I was like, of course we can say women's cycling is boring. Why can't we say that? But you put a lot of unreal expectation on the women's peloton. You can't compare it to the level that we're on in men's cycling. The development of women's cycling only started, 8 years ago? 7, 8 years ago? And the development is going really fast, but the difference in level is huge between the top riders and the continental teams and the younger riders. It's not the same sport. First of all, it's not the same sport. It's a different strategies, it's different teams, it's a different level, and you can't compare it with the men's racing. And of course, you know, having a 50-kilometer solo by Tadej Pogacar and Mathieu van der Poel, lovely. And Milan-San Remo this year for the first time in, I don't know how many Milan-San Remos I watched, was actually exciting. But why are we making such a big fuss about women's cycling being boring? When we started to show women's cycling for the first time, you know, when I started doing commentary, the only races we had were World Championships. And once every 4 years, the Olympics. That was all the women's cycling we showed on TV. My first women's race I saw was 2011 in Copenhagen, and then the Olympic road race in London with Marianne Vos and Lizzie Dijkman. And there was a pressure on, like, every time the women are on TV, we have to make it the best show. But the men don't have that pressure. You know, I'm doing the Tour of Turkey this week. A lot of stages are sprint stages, and they're not particularly exciting. And nobody makes a fuss out of that. Why does women's cycling have to be exciting 100% of the time? Sometimes it's not. Okay, deal with it. It's fine. I don't care. But they make a big discussion out of it. And then yesterday there was a 33-kilometer solo by Tadej Pogacar, and then after the race, I don't see the analysts say, "Well, this was kind of boring, wasn't it? It was the winner that we expected in the way that we expected, and he already did this 5 times before. Maybe that was boring. No, that was the best thing in the world because the analyst said Tadej Pogacar is sympathetic.
Yeah.
And then it's not boring. Okay.
Kim LeCour must be pretty boring.
Yeah, very boring. Oh man, this sport is so boring. I'm gonna watch snooker.
Yeah, it's just like you say, Jose, like every time Pogacar starts, and of course he's a generational talent. There's no discussion about it.
He's a great guy. He is a great guy.
And he's fun, and he has an eye for women's cycling. Let's make the link to this podcast. So that's good.
Yeah, his fiance seems to be doing something in cycling, I heard. I wish people would write more about the fiance, because I have no idea who she is.
But that's a nice thing. Yeah. He was in like a bus of UAE, and he came to pick up Urska after she came back of the podium.
Yeah, we were in the same hotel this year as AG Insurance, and today came over from the other hotel in Spain, and he was just sitting there in the lobby with his €15,000 rainbow bike, just waiting for her. It's just lovely. And the same kind of story, a couple of years ago, I sent a direct message to Tadej Pogacar and asked if he wanted to do an interview together with his girlfriend Urska. And he said, yes, I do want to do that, and we have to go through my management and whatever, but I want it to be about her predominantly. That was the one thing that he said. And then I had an interview with the two of them, and they were just on my Zoom screen, like on a I think they were even on a hotel bed or something like that. And they were so incredibly cute together. And there's just a lot of love between these two. And but she has a name and he has a name, and just stop doing the Tadej Pogacar fiance also rides bike thing.
Yeah.
Because it's
there's a lot of examples on sports that too.
Yeah.
Like ex women banker from Canada wins a stage in the Tour de France.
Oh, does she have a name too?
No.
from Wall Street.
No.
Wall Street.
Yeah. No, from USA, of course. But anyway, you get the point.
Well, Canada is
just
almost
imagine,
the USA, 51st state. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, depends. Yeah. Just imagine, like ex-Danish fisherman wins a stage in the Tour de France. Everybody would say, like, "Are you nuts? What did you take?"
Wife is proud.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit of a journalist trick, you know. When we sadly lost 2 people in the Flanders Sportive, one of them was a former pro of Cofidis. And then, of course, if you put that name in the headline, nobody will know that person. So what they do, they put in the headline former teammate of Frank van der Broek, I think it was, being Cofidis, or I don't know who it was. But because then people think, okay, I want to read it. If you put a name in the headline that nobody knows, the headline is the first thing that somebody sees. So from a journalist perspective, I do understand. But it gets a little bit tired, doesn't it? She is a person.
Just make it teammate of Niewiadoma or whatever you can do, because but not like ex-Wall Street finance woman. It's like, I don't give a damn what she did before. She's a cyclist now. That's her job. I don't care what she did before. Or maybe, you care, but because you start reading the article and it's like, oh, where does she come from? But
Alaska.
Not in a headline. Like, yeah.
Did you know that Primož Roglič was a ski jumper? Did you know that?
Who didn't know that? Yeah. Every time his face is on the television, it's mentioned.
But all these kind of things, they are all part of this sport maturing. And I started following women's cycling, like I said, in 2011 with the Worlds in Copenhagen, where Bronsini beat Voss again. This is all about the sport growing up. There's more media attention. There's more interest in these riders, and there's still, like, traditional media, of course, are still, especially sports media, still 95% men. There's still kind of like we want to give them attention. There is now more of a need that we want to spend time on on highlighting women's sports, but there's also still a little bit of unease on like venturing venturing into the unknown. It takes a little bit more time. You have to get new riders, you have to get new teams. Not everybody does that kind of effort, because okay, I earn my money in men's cycling. Why should I? But yeah, these things are changing, and it's all about the process of this sport growing up. In a couple of years, it will be better, hopefully.
We hope so too, José. We hope so too.
On the other hand, when we didn't have any races on television, we would never have seen Demi Vollering cry or Lotte Kopecky not winning bike races. So the fact that we can actually we can actually see it, so that's already a big step forward. We're not there, but it's a big step forward.
It would be better not to show it anymore, José, because we don't like
so
Demi
offensive.
cry.
Oh my!
We don't want to see that.
Women and emotions. Oh, it's terrible.
And Lotte never wins a bike race. Why do we want to watch this?
She even won a bike race this month. You're like, how far back do you want to go? It's like the most important...
2 days, max.
Yeah,
I'm a man.
The most important bike race of the season in Flanders.
Yeah.
Oh, well. We can discuss about these kind of things. That's fun.
Yeah, it's a whole other podcast episode.
But I have a lot of pet peeves around these kind of things,
Yeah.
And sometimes I share them, and sometimes I just don't bother. And that also has to do with the menstrual cycle. When I do get annoyed, and when I don't. So.
Yeah.
Watch out, listeners.
All listeners who are women or have actually met a woman will know what that is like, Christoph. That there are certain days that you do get annoyed a little bit more, and other days you just let it.
Oh, really?
You just let it go. Let it go.
Okay.
Fool Elsa.
Ah.
Yeah.
Never experienced this in my house.
And you said you had daughters. Well, they're quite small.
Yeah,
but...
two teenage daughters. So yeah, I know what a mood swing is, José.
My best friend is on holiday here, and she showed like a really lovely picture of her and her daughters. And she said, "What you don't see on this picture is that 2 of them are on their period, and they are an absolute nightmare." For this picture, they managed to smile, and like 2 minutes later, it was a disaster. But yeah, that's life with teenagers. But yeah, I think it's good that Demi Vollering actually said that, because it also opens up conversation between younger riders, because junior riders have these kind of problems too, and maybe even if one of them feels a little bit more secure to discuss this with her coach, it's like, yeah, I saw on television that Demi Vollering was having issues with her cycle in Liège. I want to tell you that there's also certain days that I feel a little bit, less strong or a little bit less stable. Can we do something about my training schedule? Even if one of these younger female riders finds the courage now to open up about her struggles every month, that's a win. And whatever, anonymous people on the internet think about it.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, as a coach, is the first thing I say to my younger women riders too. Is like, hey, I don't know how it feels, but if it hurts or if you have a bad day because of it, just feel free to share. Yeah. I mean,
and that's all you
I'm
can
a man, but don't feel afraid to tell me that, like, hey, coach, it's not going to work today because it's this time of the month and it hurts like hell. Then I'm like, okay, no bike or easy spin if you can. If you can't, okay. Yeah. So, but be open about it. It's okay. I mean,
and that's the only thing.
You're a young woman growing up, so.
And that's the only thing you can do. Open that conversation. It's an integral part of being a female athlete. And like I said at the start, only a couple of years ago, most of the women's peloton didn't even have a cycle anymore because they were suffering from what we call red S, or they were suffering from severe weight problems. And if you get if you've got problems with your weight and you get too skinny, your menstruation stops. So a lot of the peloton didn't even have it anymore. So now we're in the healthy situation that we have doctors and that we have women who are just having normal bodily functions. Let's just applaud that instead of ridiculing that and ridiculing that she spoke out about it. I say, well done, Demi.
Yeah, for sure.
What? Did you say something nice about Demi?
Oh, I will always say something nice about her. She's a wonderful person, and she's got dogs, and people with dogs are always good people. Her dog is just the coolest dog ever.
Yeah.
Well, there's another very cool dog. You know, the former pro rider from Alpecin de Koning. His name is Maurice Ballerstedt. And he always takes his dachshund, his Tekel, on a bike ride, and he's even got like little goggles. So just go find him on Instagram. It's hilarious. Just to balance out all the negativity, find something fun on the internet. Yeah. So that is Maurice Ballerstedt's dog. And Flo, of course.
After you read Natasha Knaven's post
about foundation and the pyramid and everything, yes.
Yeah. Then something lighter stuff, watch the dog of Maurice Ballerstedt.
And of course, Flo.
Yeah. Sarah, do you want to discuss the Grand Prix Schellebelle first, or do you want to cross the border more south?
Sorry, can I share one like absolutely hilarious post on Blue Sky today?
Yeah.
Let me find it. It was by Jens Hagström. You probably know him. He's also following a lot of women's cycling. I keep telling my friends that cycling is a serious sport, and then they ask me what's happening this weekend, and I tell them it's time for the GP Immozone Vloer- en Schapenwerken Smetrijns in Schellebelle, organized by the Wielkenzuigers.
Yeah. And that's my almost.
There we are.
That is.
There we are now with the podcast.
It's hilarious.
The Grand Prix Schellebelle.
Yeah, but before we go over to that, we do have to mention something about LBL first. Because after LBL, Lotte already hinted something was off. She was like, yeah, with this winter, I can be happy with the Tour of Flanders. And I was like, ooh, did we miss something? But today, as the works, actually let us know what was bad about the winter is, of course, Lotte crashed, I think, the second last stage of the CIMAC. Then she won the stage after and of course the general classification. But apparently when she got back on the bike, she had a knee injury. And she couldn't really train properly till the start of the season. So it was a huge struggle, and yeah, no one knew about it actually till today. So yeah, that's something that
I hope she gets some good training. I think she was supposed to race in Luxembourg this weekend, but she cancelled that one. Or is it next weekend? I think this weekend, isn't it?
This weekend, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know where we'll see her again. Hopefully,
there's
some big races coming up, but
hopefully she Belgian championships normally, but
yeah, that long?
I don't know. Last
that before Tour de France, Sarah?
What?
Yeah, it's before Tour de France. Yeah.
And it's obligated here in Belgium. But before there's Ride London and... Oh, Ride London, of course not.
Tour of Britain.
Tour of Britain. But last year we did Ride London and Tour of Britain. And then Belgian Championships after LBL.
Is SD Works doing it?
Tour of Britain?
Because a lot of big teams are not going. Yeah?
Because of Brexit.
I don't know. Something I was actually wondering, was it me or was Volkers Wessels not on Tour of Britain? Because Margot said that it was her big goal, but I was like...
I don't know. I have no knowledge of that.
They were announced. Yeah. There's a lot of club teams, so that de facto means there's a lot of bigger teams that are not.
Yeah, as the works is starting, but no Volkers Wessels, which is kind of sad for our guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Team Coop Repsol neither. Hey, we didn't mention them yet this episode, so I have to.
Volkers Wessels.
No, Team Coop Repsol, it was a.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I love Volkers Wessels team.
Oh. Thought you were gonna say I love the Team Coop Repsol.
Yeah, I love Eline van Rooyen. She lives not far from me. She's amazing.
Ah, you're from Woerden.
Yes, well, almost, yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Nowadays, with all this northeastern wind that we have, it's usually Woerden first and then a little bit further east before going back north, and then tailwind back home.
Yeah, always.
Always tailwind back home, yes. But yeah, Woerden is quite, it's 7 kilometers from here. So I see Eline quite often, and Ellen van Dijk, and Floortje Mackay doesn't live very far from me, so it's always fun. You can spot the pro from quite far away.
Eileen is fun. She has a sense of very dry humor.
She does. She does.
That's very funny.
I don't know if we have to discuss something else about LBL, but
I don't know if you want to go to Schellebelle.
we can do that. And do
Where is it on the map? I think people are interested to know. It
Um,
sounds
so
very East Flanders.
yeah, it's East Flanders,
Yeah.
so it passes actually even through the village I'm living in, and I live about 20 minutes above Ghent, so
Okay.
that area, but flat.
For
And the very happy
yeah.
cobble street, de Beringstraat.
All right.
That's like, I don't know, on 100 meters of my house. Yeah, it's just flat. It's gonna be a sprint. Last year, Consoni won. I would like to share who's participating, but honestly, apart from some DD group cycling names, and I know that Phoenix is starting too, and yeah, that's it for the moment, I think. So yeah, it will be a nice surprise. Oh, O'Shea team is also starting. Because of course our guest Connie is coming to cheer, so we'll catch
Oh, she is.
yeah. She just
Oh,
said, like, we
lovely.
have to meet up. I'm going. I'm coming to Belgium and cheering for the team. So
Now that's a reason to go to GP Schellebelle.
yes, but yeah, no
We
idea
found one.
who's participating. Maybe someone like Marten Trey, because it's part of the Lotte Belgian thing.
Yeah,
it's
the Belgian Cup or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
it's
Or the
same
cycling ladies
category
tour
as
club.
Ronde de
Huppel,
Mousseline,
hup.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
Susanne Andersen, Sophie van Rooyen. Ska goed samen. We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Ah. Okay.
Are you going to be part of the publicity caravan again?
No, not this time, I think.
Race?
It's with sausages and salami in GP Schellebelle. not with
And
not with
dried
scarves.
fish.
Yeah, dried fish.
But something else, because we of course talked about last week's biggest races, but another guest actually did quite well. She became second, Helene Hesters, behind Marit van Hoven in a national race here in Belgium. Wortegem Petegem is where it was. So nice to see.
I just love the name Wortegem Petegem.
Yeah.
Every year when I do Nokere Koers, it's like, yes, Wortegem Petegem, the home of Tim Merlier.
Yeah. Yeah. He just lives in front of one of my young athletes, actually.
One of my
Tim
favorite
Merlier.
Belgian
He's
place
from-
names is Erps Kwerps.
Yeah. Schellebelle is fun as
Yeah,
well,
that's
but maybe not for the international
No.
public because it's too difficult to pronounce.
I never get a lot of negative emails now I'm commentating in English. When I did in Dutch, there was a lot of online horrible stuff going on. But I once got an email from a guy from the UK, apparently. And I was doing the tour of Belgium, and we had a stage in Scherpenheuvel-Ziegem. Yeah, well, that's what it's called, Scherpenheuvel-Ziegem. I can't change it. And he sent me an email like, now you're commentating in English, you should pronounce everything in the English way. So I was like, what English way? Australian English, Canadian, South African, Liverpool, Scottish, like Alabama. I don't know. It's all English. But yeah, he found that I should pronounce the Dutch names in English. So, and I'm not going to do that because, you know, I am Dutch and it's called Scherpenheuvel-Ziegem and I can't change it. And I'm also not going to say Matthew van der Poel because it sounds ridiculous because that's not his name. But yeah, this found it necessary to send me an email that he found it outrageous that I said it in Dutch.
Yeah.
And he could not understand what I was saying. And then I thought, well, if I say Scherpenheuvel-Ziegem with an English twist to it, you probably would have no idea either where it is. So I don't think,
No.
I think it would have made a big difference.
True.
But let's all be happy for the guy, because if that was his major issue in the
Yeah, you can
world,
be very happy.
he's living a very happy
That was
life.
2023 when things were still quite relaxed in the world, Christoph.
Yeah. Oh.
By the way, if there's junior women from Belgium listening, we're still looking for junior women from Belgium or from all over the world for our race at the end of July. It's a 5-day stage race in the north of the Netherlands. We've got a stage on the Vanberg, which is really cool, and some criteriums and an omloop with cobbles and a time trial, and it's 5 days of racing. Sadly enough, the Belgian Federation won't allow Nieuwelingen under 17 riders to race more than 3 days. All other countries in the world, in the world, we've got 29 nationalities. We got 6 times more riders from Hong Kong than we have from Belgium. Because the Belgian Federation won't allow riders to race more than 3 days in a row unless they're juniors. So if you want to find out, just send me a message, and you're very welcome to come and race on the Vanberg with us. We need more junior women. We only have about 25 now.
Free to enter?
No,
it's
€130 for 5 days of racing.
I mean, it's not club rated.
No.
Yeah,
no, it's not a use.
Okay,
You can enter individually. And
all right.
And you're also both invited to come and join us, because we got riders from the age of 7 on bikes that are slightly too big. I saw the other day on a post from Waasland Cycling a very young picture of Lotte Kopecky with Demi Vollering, apparently, and it was adorable. So if you want to see really adorable young riders, see if you can travel over to the Netherlands, and you will not be disappointed. They're proper bike riders, but they're very small.
7-8-year-olds on a bike.
It's
like
fantastic.
World Championship racing. When you look at their faces, it's the best.
Yeah. And then they can do a maximum of 5.6 kilometers in a race. But before and after the race, they do at least 25. The reasoning by cycling...
Proper warm-up is needed, José.
Despite all the reasoning from Cycling Flanders that young kids can't race more than 3 days in a row, all the activities they do around those 5-kilometer races are a lot more tiring than the actual bike race. But I've been doing it for 13 years. It's the best thing in the world. And a lot of the young riders I saw growing up, from Celine Del Carmen Alvarado to Susanna Andersen and Amelia Diedrichsen, like a whole group of riders that are now breaking through. I saw racing as 8-year-olds, even back then, Maud Rijnbeek and Ilse Pluimers, they were 8 and they were already racing against each other. So it's the best thing in the world. So if you're a Belgian junior, or if you are from another country, just join us. Because the great thing is this year we have 70 under-17 riders. It's the biggest group ever. 70
Nice.
riders in the under-17 women category. So, and they come from all over the world, from Australia to South Africa to all the countries of Europe. And I think that is very promising, because we need young riders to, make that foundation of the pyramid, as Natasha always calls it, and get them out there and find the new Lotte Kopecky, because we can't put all the pressure on her anymore. It's not fair.
We'll make sure we do some advertising on the socials. Right, Sir?
Yeah, for sure.
We could do that.
And then, of course, we had the racing from the last week, but there's, next to the Grand Prix Schellebelle, of course, some other racing.
Main event next week, but...
So, apart from the Vuelta, we'll save the best for last, maybe. We also have Festival Elsie Jacobs in Luxembourg. Last year won by Marta Lach. And this year also 2 guests on the start list, with Margot van Pachtenbeek and Helene Hesters, if nothing changes. So also something to keep an eye on.
And a live stream.
Yeah, nice.
With Owen Rogers.
Nice. Will be a double screen day then.
With the Grand Prix Schellebelle.
No, I'm gonna be live, so... actually...
Yeah, you watch that live, José. You cannot miss this one. No.
It's the last of the Spring Classics. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
The commentators have already taken their holiday, but we do expect Ine and Ruben ready to do the Grand Prix Schellebelle on Sunday as well.
Ah, crap, no.
Luckily, I'm at the race.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be following it with a lot of extra attention now, that race on Sunday. You have a different name last year, by the way, but...
Yeah, I can't remember it, but it was something... Yeah, it was something. It's always like, it feels like every year it's called different.
new sponsor.
And we also like really don't know anything about it. Like you just see it like if you come through the street just before our street, there are some signs that you can't park there on that day. And then it's like, oh, it's probably that time of the year. And then it's like, okay, start somewhere in Schellebelle and finish in Wichelen and we'll see.
Cool.
Biggest race out
It's
there. Go follow it.
it's even an inline race. It's from point A to B.
It's local laps.
Yeah. I guess so.
Don't play it down. It's the biggest race on the calendar this week.
Yeah. It's coming up because if you see the results, then we can make the bridge from Liège to La Vuelta. We have Reusser in 6, Fischer Black on 7, Trinca Colonel on 8. It's smelling like Grand Tour.
And then, since I can start again,
So I think they're ready for La Vuelta Femenina. Me too. Nice. A lot of Spanish flat. Who doesn't love the flat stages in Spain? Who are practically never flat.
And then, general classification. Ooh. Yeah, we really have no idea what's the midfield gonna be like. Are there starting so many big names that I don't know? For example,
Yeah, that's the women's calendar. It only runs till August. Then it's done.
Hey.
That's the thing.
We have racing in the Netherlands after that.
Oh, you do race in the Netherlands
Yeah.
in 2025.
Yeah,
Oh.
hardly.
Okay.
I was looking at
You missed-
the Pope's funeral on Saturday, and it's like, how can they pull this off in 6 days? Why we need to in the Netherlands we need to block the entire country for 4 months for the NATO summit.
Yeah.
Well, there might not even be a NATO at the end of June, so why even bother?
So now I have
And
to pick...
and there was a bike race in Rome.
Yeah, the day
GP
before.
de la Liberazione. So I mean, what's the problem?
Well, we do the NATO
It's the
summit
Pope
in
who
Rome.
died.
They know what they're doing. But there's already roadblocks in The Hague where people just cannot even walk their dogs for the next 3 months because there's 2 days of NATO summit at the end of June. And the entire cycling calendar is basically cancelled because we have 100 cops in the Netherlands who ride motorbikes and they're all occupied. And if they're not occupied, they're on holiday. And yeah, the first race that can take place is the CMAC Ladies Tour, which is at the end of early September, I think they moved it back to. So yeah, by the grace of God, we can have national championships. One of the best organisers in the country, Thijs Rondhuis, managed to get 2 circuit races for the national championship. So we're going back to Ede, where Lorena Wiebes took her first national title. And we're going to Surhuis-de-Veen for the time trials. And all thanks to his contacts that we don't need any police capacity. But I was looking at the funerals, like the biggest leaders in the world are sitting front row there. And they pulled this off 6 days after the Pope died. And we can't do anything, not even cycling, but also not like your weekly or your annual market and kermis and what have you, because there's a NATO summit at the end of June. Like, what kind of country is this? There's like 1 trillion bike races in Belgium, and we're left with 3 UCI races this year, something like that.
But it's kind of
It's like
difficult for me to
ridiculous.
judge it because when I was just
It's a question we ask ourselves a lot as Belgians.
Yeah.
What kind of country is that?
I was like thinking, okay, what would she have thought? And I was
Well,
like,
but
oh, no,
when it comes
I
to
really can't
cycling,
say
Belgium,
anything about this
Flanders
because
does
I'm
things a
exactly
lot better than we do.
describing what I would do
So
in, like,
yeah,
this.
really proud of
It's
the
like this-
organisers who managed to pull it
yeah,
off,
just
like the
this
Amstel Gold Race and of
super
course
driven, a
Thijs
little
Rondhuis with the
stubborn,
nationals
and like,
and
oh, I can
with
do
the
this
CMAC Ladies
on
Tour,
my
but
own. I'll be fine.
yeah, a lot of
And,
prominent
yeah,
races have had to say like we
yeah.
can't organise
It
this
for
year.
sure wasn't, I think,
And
the easiest spring
of
for
course, the
one
categories suffering the
one
most
thing,
are
because Belgian
club
media
teams
is
and
like literally,
yeah,
it's I
national
love
teams,
spring classics
continental teams.
but I hate
Because
the
the World
Belgian
Tour
The base
media
of
calendar
the
is not
pyramid.
affected. But yeah, exactly. There we go with the pyramid again.
every race, which is
Mm.
impossible.
Yeah.
So, what I'm thinking
Yeah.
from it
Besides
is,
that, Saar,
apart from
off to
that,
Barcelona. We're not there live.
actually,
Not you,
everyone
not
is
me.
very close to each
Maybe
other.
José. No, I don't
No
think so.
one
No, she's not
really,
covering.
I did it
really
five
stands
Yeah,
times,
true.
the Vuelta
Yeah.
on site, and then last year
What I'm
they
also
asked
taking
somebody
from
else.
it,
They said it was not
Mhm.
what I
personal,
think
but yeah,
still
they
have
asked
to
somebody
talk
else.
a
So
lot
in the
about
end, it was
is
very personal.
Bos
Otherwise, she would have asked
Koning
me.
Vuelta.
But yeah, they didn't ask me again.
Um,
So that's also
very
freelance
weird
cycling commentary.
racing.
You
They
know,
just don't race
your
together.
job is
So
secure
excited
for
to
one
see
time
if
only, and you can only
we'll see a change in the
hope that you
Vuelta,
get
but
there
in the
next year. But
Vuelta,
I
I
was
think they
fortunate
have
enough to do
some
it
different
four
objectives,
times,
so it will
and
be
it was
harder to see
absolutely
there.
glorious.
Mm.
And
Yeah, I like La Vuelta too.
just
It's like one of the
very nice to
first
see
bigger
actually
stage
that
races. The
everyone
Grand Tours who
is
really rolled out
so close
the women's
to each
stage race,
other.
actually. Yeah. So we start with the classic team time trial in Barcelona. I hope it will be organized better than La
Earlier.
Vuelta 2 years ago and earlier, yeah.
Omloop was very exciting,
Because it was
right?
quite a PR
Someone
disaster
who
back then. So
completely
let's
didn't
hope it's not
expect it.
this way around.
So
Yeah, not very technical, but I think a team time trial is already technical in itself, especially for the women's peloton, who is not that broad as the men's peloton yet. So that makes it already hard enough for the smaller teams that are competing. For me personally, it's the yearly showdown of how women's cycling is doing on the level of material on bikes. That team time trial. Because 2 or 3 years ago, you saw like the smaller Spanish club teams who were there, like, riding on their own road bikes and stuff like that, like competing with rockets from the big World Tour teams. So you could really see that there's like, there's still a big gap, and you see that year after year, like Team Coop Repsol now, just to mention them, they all have now time trial bikes as well. So you see that part is improving year by year, and I think that's full on display every year at the team time trial. I think it's a good indication.
We can be pretty
But for the
proud
rest,
about it.
I love a team time
See
trial.
how far we've come in those
Most people
6
think
months.
most people think it's very boring, but yeah, as a cycling coach, it's an art.
And then next episode's guest will be hard to guess, I think.
I think it's good on the women's calendar, the team time trial. A time trial in itself is already good on the women's calendar. But a team time trial too. Yeah.
Hi everyone, this is Sarah from the future. Just to say that during this episode we had massive technical problems and we fixed most of them, but we couldn't fix our Vuelta preview. So sadly, this is the end of the episode and no Vuelta preview. But we'll see you next week with a new episode. Bye bye. That's a wrap for episode 27 of She Rides. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy the ride.
Absolutely. Women's cycling is packed with action, and we're here to bring you every twist and turn.
Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Amazon Music or YouTube so you don't miss upcoming episodes. And if you like today's show, a rating, like or comment really helps us reach more listeners.
Follow us on Blue Sky and Instagram for behind the scenes updates, our hashtag Guess the Guest game, and more.
Thanks to José for joining us today, and don't hesitate to share your questions or topics you'd like us to cover.
Stay tuned for more exciting guests and join our prediction competition. Tag She Rides podcast on Blue Sky to show off your knowledge, and She Rides is powered by KRM Endurance Coaching.
Thanks for listening to She Rides, where women's cycling takes the lead. Keep watching the fun, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.